because of still with the COVID rules, but it's nice to see some people here. And I think you can take your mask off when you're sitting down, can you not?
Correct.
Yeah, you don't have to keep your mask on. I want to see your smiling faces.
You can take them off?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just when you're moving, just mask that on when you're moving.
So with that, welcome everybody that's here and those at home that are watching. Where are we to? New business. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you.
Thanks. Councillor Roach.
No, thank you.
Pass.
Pass.
Councillor Pollard. Good luck. Councillor Orgaz.
Thank you and good luck.
Thanks. Good luck. And I got a, what do I have? I got a congratulations, I believe, and a condolences.
Mayor, could I ask everybody to turn on their microphone so people at home can hear everybody? Thank you.
Oh, see, I forgot already. All right. Q&A. I got 2 questions that came in through email. Does anybody here want to get on the agenda for Q&A session? Nope. Okay. With that, accept the motion to adopt the agenda as amended, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried. All right. We have regular minutes of our August 9th council meeting. Motion to adopt those, please. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any errors or omissions?
Hold on, I haven't seen them. Let me see. Thank you. Sorry, I got these when I was working. My apologies.
All right, good.
All good. Thank
All
you.
right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Proclamations, presentations. We have a proclamation here for Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month for September 2021. Councillor Roach, would you mind doing the honors, please?
I would be appreciated. Thank you. This month we recognize those who have died and offer support to those who continue to fight for their lives. Whereas the Canadian Cancer Society estimates that close to 3,000 women and girls of all ages will be diagnosed with ovarian cancer in 2021, and that 63% of these women and girls will not live to see 5 years. And whereas ovarian cancer is the most fatal gynecological cancer in Canada, and yet the survival rate of women diagnosed with ovarian cancer in Canada has not changed in 50 years. And whereas early detection of the disease remains the best way to save lives, however, there is no reliable screening test for ovarian cancer. Symptoms include abdominal pressure or bloating, digestive problems, excessive fatigue, frequent urination, and changes in bowel habit. And whereas the Women of Hope group was created in 2016 and now has over 2,700 members worldwide, the group's mandate is to offer support for affected women, their families and friends, and to raise awareness for ovarian cancer and encourage the Teal movement. And therefore,
Be it resolved that I, Craig Scott, Mayor of the Town of Torbay, together with our council, do hereby proclaim September as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. So moved.
Second. Second.
Okay, comments? Councilor Rowe?
no, I'll just like to add on the back page of our paper we have here, it says, we would also like to request that you light your town hall teal from September the 16th to September the 30th, 2021. And if we require any further information, we can be reached at 709-687-3364. Thanking you in advance on behalf of Rita Gibbons.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any comment? I do. And the lady who started this group, Women of Hope Ovarian Cancer Newfoundland, Susan Glynn, passed away from ovarian cancer on July 20th. And Susan was a great friend to us here at the town. She used to come down and explain to us about the importance of awareness for ovarian cancer. And, she really could drive home exactly what it is that she was dealing with, and she did that here. And I had many opportunities to have her here at the town hall. We raised her flag, we did the proclamations, we did a lot of things together. It's very nice to see her sister, Nikki. Name is on this proclamation, where Susan's would normally be.
Yes.
And it's, I want to pass along our condolences to her family and certainly to the group, that she was a real powerful advocate, and she was a superwoman, and it was so sad to hear that she passed, and I'm glad that we continue to do this in her name. So that's it. With that, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Can we get a quick picture?
Yes, yeah, I was just
Is
going
this-
to ask that.
Yeah. She was always one for asking, take the picture.
Did you want to get council in the center, or?
We can, or, well, it's kind of, I'll just stand up with it. I don't want, everybody had to put their mask on and stuff, so. Do you want to stand here or move up in front? Okay. All righty. Moving on, we don't have any presentations. Q&A. All right, I got two questions here for Q&A. Let me find them. The first one came from Michael Carroll. So he said, "Good day. I believe there were plans to further extend the Forest Landing walking trail. Is it going ahead this year? The existing trail is really nice. Glad the town has moved forward with these." So the answer is yes, we're looking to complete a section of trail from the gazebo in Forest Landing, down Forest River Road, down towards the bypass road this fall. And it may not get totally finished this year, but it will certainly be started. And we're currently determining the best route to take along the river. So the long-term plan is for that trail to come right down the river, and of course, we have a lot of work to do in terms of who owns property, where the reservation is, all those type of things that we'll have to look at going forward. So, Michael, I hope that answers your question. And I have a second question from Jerry Gover. Good day. What policies, guidelines, and regulations governing town development abutting or in close proximity to residential properties does the town have? So I guess in summary, what we have is, we have our recreation master plan, our open space management strategy, our municipal plan and development regulations, and our subdivision guidelines to determine where to best put trails and where we can put them. And I guess all of those, as with any plan or guideline or regulations that the town has, are all living documents, so they can change at, wouldn't say, well, I guess any time. And, but most of them are subject to public notification and input from the public when we do make changes, so that is kind of the short, precise answer to that. Alrighty, so that looks after that. Now where to? Mayor's report. All right, I got a little bit of a longer report this time, simply because the last meeting I chaired was the 28th of July. I was on holidays for the last meeting, trying to be on holidays anyway, and I did manage to get some time for vacation, but so July 29th, I had the pleasure of presenting to Polish Studio, the Hogan family, Jack Keith and Elizabeth, and Think Outside the Box with their business awards. So we went around and visited them and presented them with their awards. July 30th, myself and CAO met with June Peary from Pilot Communications about the capital campaign. I think we've since forwarded on a update to council, and we'll continue to give updates to council as they perform their collection duties for the funds that were committed to the campaign. August the 7th, we had our Torbay birthday celebrations, so I attended breakfast in the morning. I think Councilor Dorngosh, you were there too, I think. And then we had music and games for kids in the afternoon with John Kern, Wilf Kern, and Greg Welch, and fireworks in the evening. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who came to that, and also thank you to our staff for organizing it. August 9th, myself and CAO met with MHA Wall and some officials from the provincial government about our current applications that we have in for municipal capital works projects. And as well, we talked about expanding on our current sidewalk project that we have. And I think that we put forward a good argument for that, and hopefully we're going to hear back soon if we're going to be able to get any movement on that. And as well, our municipal capital works project, which is our water treatment, that they said because it's a high dollar value, those always require extra scrutiny and looking at, nothing out of the ordinary, and hopefully we'll hear back on that sooner rather than later. August 11, I attended the public meeting that we had at the community center with the BDP rentals discretionary use application. I want to thank all residents who came out to that, and to our staff who organized it, and our Stepan Yepchek, I got his name right. He chaired that meeting for us. He's one of our, I'm trying to remember the right name, commissioner, that we have on our list of commissioners that can host public meetings for us. So thank him for doing that as well. August 15th, I attended the Killick Coast Games opening ceremonies, and I want to say congratulations to the junior athletes who participated last week, and good luck to the senior athletes participating this week. And that's it. And here I am tonight, public council meeting. So as you can see, my 2 weeks holidays were kind of chopped up a little bit with doing town stuff, but I mean, that's it. It's all part of it. So I know my wife would have been happier if I had a little more time off, but
I have a
Go ahead, Mary.
Question there, with regards to that meeting that you had with the provincial government.
Yep.
Is there a possibility, or is there minutes completed on that? Because it would be good to have that
Don
for the
has
record,
notes.
and what you talked about and what you heard back from them, from their comments.
There should be an email to all council with an update in addition to
With
my notes.
what's in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
thanks.
Anything else? Anybody else? Questions? Okay. Any business arising from the minutes that we just adopted a minute ago? All right, seeing none. Moving on, correspondence. We got some correspondence here. One from the provincial government on the Premier's Forum 2021 call for regional nominations. I don't know that our town will be allowed to nominate anybody because, although we might, because it was in, it'll be in October. Oh, well, last time, I guess because myself and Deputy Mayor voted on the board of M&L, our town was allowed to put a separate representative because for, I guess, the 3 prior years to that, I attended the Premier's Forum. But anyway, we'll pass that one along to admin, I guess, and they can have a look at it, the details, and see if we want to nominate somebody for that.
I got a question on that too.
Yep.
And actually, I've gone back and put it in, but you're looking at the deadlines on this.
Yeah.
So anyone that's on the current council could put their name forward and possibly not get elected. And we've got potentially a new council coming in with new people who could be, somebody would be a real good choice to go forward. And they're not even going to have the opportunity to put their name in. So like the whole scheduling and the timing of coming out something like this,
Yeah,
like it's, to me, it doesn't make any sense.
I know, and the time
Right?
frames.
The timing, and because you could end up with somebody and potentially not have your town represented at all. So, you know, you gotta wonder sometimes where the decision comes up to put a call letter out like this in the middle of an election.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with the fact that this happens on the same weekend as the M&L convention. So.
Which is the first week in November. Yeah,
Right, so
there's still
calls
time.
calls for nominations came out today as well for board of directors positions, and they
Yeah.
close on October 4th, so.
Don't make no sense.
Well, the timeframes are what they are. We can't control them.
I know, but I guess I'm just looking at it from a practical perspective, that even if the convention is not until November, there's still the month of October. So it's either way, you could, somebody or a community is going to miss out on an opportunity of having someone represent them at this really important.
Well, there would only be one
From, yeah,
representative from the entire Avalon, right? So I guess
Yeah.
there'll be lots of towns putting people's names in. But it's a good point that you make.
Mayor, can I speak to that?
Sure.
The other piece that needs to be considered here is M&L has bylaws, and so there's a certain time frame that's needed for some of these nominations to be provided. Then, once that nomination period's open, there's also a period that has to be provided as per bylaws for the time that those nominations are made for those candidates to be considered by the membership. So I can certainly take Councillor Thorngoss's comments back to the M&L table. I've got a meeting tomorrow in lunch hour with M&L, so I can bring that back to staff. But I would think that some of the timeframes in here are being guided by the bylaws that M&L currently has in place. So we can certainly ask staff to have a review, but I would think that's, because I know when we went through the process for the current board of directors for M&L with the changes this spring, a lot of that was governed by the timelines that were available as per the bylaws. So I would expect much the same here. But I'll certainly take it back to the table in the meeting that I have tomorrow at noon to speak to staff about it.
yeah, thank you.
No problem.
And I guess to your point, they've kind of changed how this worked. The original Premier's Forum, the very first one that they had, I had to run for election against whoever was nominated on the Avalon. And the second time it was like that, but then they ran into, I guess, an election. and they decided to change their scope on how they choose those participants. So now all the names go in, and then somebody in the government just picks them out. I don't know if they pick them randomly or how they go about it, but it's, Deputy Mayor can follow up on that.
Yep, I'll do that.
All right, next one is a letter to council regarding stormwater management from a resident on Skipper's Landing. We will forward that one on to Public Works.
That will be addressed in the,
We've already addressed that one?
it's being addressed in the motion later.
Okay, no worries, but we'll still forward it on to you. Even though I know that you've been addressing it, so. I also have a letter that came in from a gentleman with regards to Great Palm Watershed and some questions that he and I had a bit of a email back and forth. So I asked him, did he want it included as a correspondence to council? He said yes, so we'll forward that one on to planning. Okay. Gas tax agreement. I think this one is information purpose only, Don?
Correct.
Okay, that goes back to finance, or, yeah, I guess finance. And updates to consultant procurement policy. And this is another one from the provincial government, and we will forward that one on to finance as well. Perfect. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Committees of council. Committee of the whole, we have no committee of the whole report. Planning, land use, development, Councilor Thorngoss.
Okay, there wasn't a meeting, so what I've got here tonight is an update from our director. And I've got C2021-069, 157 North Pond Road, renovation expansion of existing mobile home, non-conforming use. The town of Torbay is in receipt of an application proposing to renovate an existing mobile home and to add 12 by 87 meters squared by 137.6 feet squared addition, 4 feet by 4.5 feet and 32 feet by 32 feet to the dwelling. Complete the work with new roof over the proposed expansion. Undertake foundation work, thereby converting the existing mobile home to a permanent structure. A detailed background report on the plug committee minutes of June 23rd, 2021 are attached for reference. The Planning and Development Committee has no objection to renovate and increase the footprint of the existing mobile home. Permitted 50% increase on floor under development regulations 2015-2025 and to convert the home to a permanent style use dwelling. The motion is to approve application C2021-069 for a proposed 12.87 meter squared building extension to convert the existing mobile home to a single dwelling use and to issue a conditional approval in principle subject to the Town of Torbay Development Regulations 2015 to 2025, more specifically Regulation 49, and subject to conditions outlined in the accompanying departmental background report. So moved.
Second.
Over to seconder. Comments or questions?
I'd just like to add that this had come forward in one, well, I guess it says there on the date, June 23rd, I think, committee, and it was over the 10% or the 50% increase in the floor area. So after having the discussion, our director went back and discussed it with the applicant. So they came back with it revised. So that's why we have this one in here tonight.
Okay. Okay, any other questions?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm just curious why, if this is permitted use, if we need a motion on this one.
Because there was no committee meeting, so the motion has to come forward, right? Is that the?
Well,
or
it
is
was
this
over,
discretion?
originally, it was over the 50% increase.
Oh, okay, all right.
And they came back, so this is a revised application again, right? I'm assuming that I'm right in saying.
In general, it has to be tabled
Julie?
at council
zone, which means it's a non-conforming use, and non-conforming use require council motions.
Okay.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
BR 2021-009, 8 Skipper's Landing, home-based business, light industry, creating custom concrete furniture. The town of Torbay is in receipt of an application proposing to operate a home-based business creating custom concrete sinks, vanities, furniture, and bench tops. The existing detached garage is proposed to be used for the business. The proposal specifies that there will be no customers coming to the subject property, there will be no associated signage, and there will be no dust odors or loud noise. There will be 2 non-resident employees. Sufficient off-street parking will be provided to accommodate the 2 non-resident employees, 1 full-time and 1 part-time. The town did not receive any written objections to the proposal. A detailed background report is attached. The department reviewed the proposal and has no objection to the proposal and is recommending conditional approval subject to conditions outlined in the attached background report and standard operating conditions for home-based business in Torbay. Motion to conditionally approve application BR 2021-009 in accordance with the Torbay Development Regulations 2015-2025 and to issue a conditional approval subject to conditions outlined in attached background report and standard conditions for the operation of a light industrial home-based business in Torbay. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions?
Just one, this is fabulous, I think this is great. The only question I have is around the wastewater and place it in a settling system. Is that maintained within a building? Is that exterior? What's the story on that? Just curious.
Apparently, it's a fairly basic.
Julie, is your microphone on? It's not turned on underneath, I don't think.
Yeah. It's a fairly basic system. He's got 3 barrels and he's basically pouring the wastewater. It's in the garage, so it'll be kept in the same structure. And then once it settles out, it goes into the second one and so forth. And then he removes the solids. So, but it doesn't, that stuff shouldn't go into the, well, it's on well and septic anyways, but it has to be removed then to waste disposal.
Right, so there's no environmental impact to worry about or anything outside visually for residents to be concerned about?
Right, and it's important that the noise regulations are complied with, and in terms of like environmental, like there's potential dust or anything like that, the application will be requiring an approval from Service now. So there are also provincial sign-offs required as well on that.
Sounds good, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Motion to accept permit listings for the period ending August 19, 2021 as presented. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconder. Questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Okay, I'm just going down over the minutes, the public meeting that we held at the Common on August the 11th, hosted by an independent facilitator. The department is in the process of assembling the background report, including the minutes of the public meeting to be tabled at the upcoming Planning, Land Use and Development Committee meeting for recommendation, and then to be forwarded to a decision at the next public council meeting. Same thing with Spray Lane. We're in the staff has received a number of representations, including a petition from area residents, largely in opposition to the proposal. The department is in the process of assembling the background report to be tabled at the next committee meeting for further discussion and direction regarding next steps. A final decision will be made at the next public meeting of council. 81 Camp Carey Road, same thing up there with regards to the tower. The town received a number of representations, including a petition from area residents, largely in opposition of the proposal. The department is in the process of assembling the background report to be tabled at the next Planning and Development meeting, and a decision coming forward at the next public council meeting. Canada Post, the town is in receipt of an application for the proposed tendon fit-up of a portion of the building at 858 Torbay Road for a proposed occupancy by Canada Post. The department is currently reviewing the floor and site plan submission and will forward it file to the upcoming Planning, Land Use and Development Committee for further discussion and direction, and decision on the proposal made to all of council. Is there anything else to add on that? Because I know that that's something that, have you got any other information, or is that just basically what we have so far? Is that there? Okay, nothing new since this was done. Okay. Anybody else got anything there that they want to look at? They were the major ones. I'm assuming everyone had an opportunity to look at the update that we have here. It's worth mentioning, I think, too, the William Manning Drive land acquisition. It has come to staff's attention that a portion of the William Manning Drive public road right-of-way in around the driveway entrance to the town municipal depot continues to be in private ownership. The town initiated a survey work and an appraisal to be able to approach the neighboring property owner with an offer on the acquisition of the property. The appraisal will be tabled for discussion and further direction at the upcoming committee meeting. That's interesting, and how we got that far.
Yeah, this is a public road, really, I thought.
Can you
I guess
provide a background on what's happening with that?
That's I read it earlier today, but I don't know. Julie, have you got any more information to William Manning Drive, the land acquisition? How we ended up in that situation, or?
I don't know how we ended up, like how it came to be not transferred to the town. The land right now is owned by the adjacent property owner that basically has done some grading work and is looking to develop that piece of land further. And when reviewing that file, it came to the department's attention that there was a section of road that's in their parcel. And that's when we thought, well, that's not, this is the moment now to get that sorted out as they are preparing their site and looking to develop the site. So I don't know how it came to be, and I don't know.
Okay.
I guess as you work through that, you'll figure that stuff out, right? As you work through that to.
Yes, and what we've done is we've prepared, well, the proper process would be for the town to acquire land. So to be able to do that and to be able to make a fair offer, we undertook survey work and an appraisal. So that's actually just received now.
Okay.
And will be tabled at the next planning and development committee meeting, and then I'll seek further direction on it.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
So just for clarity, we did go out and ask for a surveyor to redo the surveys in that area?
We asked the surveyor to survey the portion of land that has a road on it. So basically, we are looking to acquire a portion, the portion of land, there's public road on it, but it's
Yes.
privately owned. So yes, it's not a large piece of land, but it is significant enough, especially if there are plans to further continue with the road right of way in the future into the back area. The town will definitely need access. And right now, the access into the depot, the second driveway access into the depot yard is off that section that's privately owned.
Okay.
It's not a big section, but it's significant enough for it to need to be sorted out. It's the back section of that road. The front is publicly owned.
Okay. All right.
Julia, would you mind sharing with council the pictures so we can get an idea of what that space is?
Yes.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yes. I don't know, my microphone was on, but Yes, I can circulate that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right,
Kenny's Brook, Phase 1 walkway. The town has been advised that an appeal against council decision to issue an approval in principle and amend the existing development agreement was received by the Regional Appeal Board. Town staff are currently awaiting legal clarification on best approach further to communications by both the appellants and the proponent to the town. TEAC meeting, the Torbay Environment Advisory Committee met on June 20th. Committee minutes and recommendations for Torbay Climate Change Action Plan will be tabled at the upcoming flood meeting. Councillor Martin and Director Swartz attended the meeting on behalf of council and staff.
Excuse me, I don't know how to turn it off. Okay,
It worked?
it worked.
it's all right.
Okay, that's the end of the report.
All right, thank you. All righty. Anybody have any other questions?
Can I ask one?
Sure.
Just noting that appeal point, there's correspondence from the persons who made the appeal asking that the town have a conversation with them, I think, to not go down the road of the appeal. Is that something that we can entertain? How does that work? I know we shouldn't be speaking about legal issues in the chamber, but I'm just curious on this one where the appeal papers were filed and then they came back and they said, look, we'd rather talk to you and sort this out rather than go through an appeal process. So is that something that we are entertaining? What are we
I
doing?
think
Yes.
that's the.
Is that what
advice
we're
we
asking
looking
legal
for from
about?
the
Like,
lawyer.
are we,
That's what
can I
legal
get some
is.
clarification on that? Because I don't know where that is. Is that what this legal
If it's under an
clarification?
appeal, we can't, if that's something that'll end up probably being talked to with staff, but that's not something that we can share in the.
Well, I think the
even if we did
residents
know.
should be aware, though, of,
Not once it's under appeal. We have never spoke about anything under appeal in
Well-
the public chamber.
No, I think I understand what you're saying, I understand what you're asking.
yeah.
The point that Councillor Goss made with regards to, we're seeking some legal advice on that. That's basically what it is that you're asking. That is exactly what we're asking, legal.
Yeah, because I just want to be clear that the public understands that we might not have to go through the process of engaging lawyers and going through the appeal process if we can work with the residents to find resolution and maybe have that appeal pulled back, right?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to find out where we were on that, because if that's an option we're entertaining, I think it makes most sense and is the best use of taxpayers' dollars. And also, takes the burden off the residents who are appealing the decision to have to engage their own personal legal, right? So just wanted to understand where we were on it, that's all. Thanks.
Just on that one, would not that just be a case of if the person wanted to work with the town, they could defer the appeal or withdraw their application?
Right.
It's all in the works being talked about, different
Yeah.
things.
They would have to reach out to the appeal board.
They would, yes?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's not us. They file
They
the
would, sure.
appeal, they
Yes.
file the appeal. They would have to reach out to the appeal board stating that they're withdrawing their appeal. We can't, so up
Right.
until we receive notification, everything stops regarding that development.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was just wondering what legal's involved. If there was a willingness on the person's part to deal with the town without going through the appeal, then the answer would be withdraw your appeal at this point in time or defer it or put it in at another time.
It was,
Anyway.
it was a dual pronged because there were some actions that the developer was looking at and we had to seek clarification because there was a development agreement previously signed. So there was two reasons for the legal opinion.
All right. Clear as mud. Okay, thank you. Administration and Finance reports. Councillor Pollard.
Thank you, Your Worship. We didn't meet, vacations are this time of year, I guess, and they seem to get in the way of meetings, but we still do converse a lot, and we still have some information here to go down through. So the standard information on the report, the payroll for 46 employees for the 2-week period, August 13th, 2021, total $97,234.81. Invoices processed for the period ended August 13th, 2021, for a 2-week period in the amount of $78,001.28. There are four operating invoices that need to be approved. The first one is for the August 2021 Trio Group benefits payment in the amount of $14,432. July 2nd, Newfoundland Power for street lighting in the amount of $19,818.39. July 16th for Newfoundland Power for the consolidated electrical billing in the amount of $10,144.81. And August 1st to the 15th, receiver general payroll remittance in the amount of $29,718.70, all totaling $67,226.15. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I don't see anything here to ask questions on, but any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
There is a invoice that did not make it to the list, and I think it's on everybody's desk next to them. It's for the road paving, Mercer's paving, for the contract we issued under our gas tax funding. It is the payment number 5 in the amount of $109,092.35. So moved.
Second.
Seconded. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So there's another motion here for, in relation to the correspondence that was talked about earlier there with the increase in gas tax. This year, the federal government doubled our gas tax allocation for the particular year, so surprisingly enough, we had to vote to accept it. I never know what sense that makes, but anyway, so we have to resolve that the town of Pro Bay accept the increase as per the federal gas tax fund top-up allocation in the amount of $339,486 as per the allocation for 2021-2022 in the ultimate recipient gas tax agreement. So moved.
Second.
Moving seconder. I don't imagine anybody wants to vote against that. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
If I could make
Opposed?
just a
Carried.
quick comment on that, though. This was a significant piece of work that the Federation of Canadian Municipalities lobbied the federal government for when it came to COVID relief. So I just want to do a shout out to the board and the staff at FCM for the good work that they've done on that, because I believe it was $400,000 that we received last year in emergency funds, which helped to make sure that we didn't have to raise the mill rate. And this is another significant amount of money that will be there to offset costs for the town, which won't be burdens for taxpayers. So it's a very good thing, and it's something I know that FCM worked really hard on. So just a quick shout out to them. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
There's another late addition to the motions, I guess, as well. We're doing some work in Skipper's Landing now, as everybody knows, and the project is the kickoff, I guess, to our storm.
You doing this
water
now, or
management
is that
project.
Public Works?
No, any
Sorry.
changes to tenders or change orders have to come by Administration and Finance Committee.
Fair enough.
Although it says Infrastructure and Public Works Committee right on top of it, I know, thank you.
Go ahead.
Hey,
I just have my eyes
I get carried away, I'm just trying to clear paper.
No worries, go ahead. Carry on.
So we had to clear out some ditches, sorry, Mary, I didn't. That's for you to read, how's that?
All right.
So in the area, there are some ditches that also need to be cleaned out that weren't necessarily identified in the project itself. It makes sense at this point in time, at least from, initial look, to get them cleared out now rather than do all the work and find out that, oops, there's some ditches that weren't cleaned out and we still have stormwater backup. So the motion is to proceed with the additional work required to clear out and regrade ditches as indicated on the sketch in the amount of $20,000 plus HST. The project is a budgeted item for 2021 and the extra cost is still far below the budgeted amount for stormwater of this year. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions? Comments? All in favor?
I just want to do a thank you to Public Works and the team to get this turned around as quickly as you have. I know that, I've been a big proponent to get this work done, and I'm really glad to see it happening. And when we received concerns from residents saying that there was potential and concern for, increased flooding for their property, staff worked very quickly and very well to turn this around, to make sure that the stormwater management work is actually doing what it was intended to do, to fix the situation that caused more problems for the residents. So I just think a thank you to the director, staff, and the committee is in order before we, just a thank you and a well done before we vote, so.
Okay. Good. Did we vote on that already? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Alrighty. You done?
I am done, Your Worship, yes.
All right, thank you very much. Economic Development and Tourism Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is an update that was provided for the council package. If anybody has any questions, by all means, you're welcome to ask. But we didn't meet again with vacation annual leave. It's, we just didn't have the ability to meet. But there's an update there around the Pico Ridge Memorial Project, the regional wayfinding, Torbay Markets, the business awards. The pictures of you giving out those awards were great. That was excellent. Nice to see businesses recognized. And the Garden Tourism Initiative and the Torbay History House update is there. And welcome to the new museum manager, Noah Moore. That's it for me.
Okay. I just got a comment, I guess. Anybody have any comments or questions?
I have.
First, go ahead, Councillor Ross.
Torbay Markets, I guess I was asked the weekend with regards to the farmers market, when it was going to be and what was happening. And once again, I guess I'm asking that if this is the only way, is this only being advertised through social media?
No.
So it's gone out other ways. And the other thing is it possible for them to register without having to go through e-services?
They can come into the town hall and we can help them through that process. That's no
Well,
problem.
no, well, I don't want, that's not the answer I'm looking for. I guess it's one thing to say help them through, and I'm after hearing a few people come back to me now and saying that they've been helped through. We have a number of seniors, and actually the person who mentioned this to me the weekend was a senior. Not the fact that they don't have computers or what have you, but if they come into the town, they just want to be able to give their information to somebody and have it put in the system. And I think this is an ongoing thing, and I'm going to bring it up here because it has to do with registration. A prime example was the breakfast that we had for the town, the anniversary. And there was one table in particular there that there was probably 10 people at the table that went through utter frustration in trying to get registered, and they knew other people who would have liked to come but could not get into our system to get a ticket. And I'm looking at that, and when I say this, I'm looking at our true seniors that were there. And you probably know, Mr. Mayor, who I'm referencing at that particular morning, and that was their comments if they had known. So I'm really asking, once again, to have some way when these people come into the desk, not to show them, to help them, to be able to go in and input and do something to help people, again, even with this farmer's market. So where has it been advertised except besides on social media? Because I'm just saying that because I haven't seen an
It's
information
in the
thing gone
Northeast
out.
Avalon Times, there was on the back page, and it's also gone out through our e-newsletter, the Torbay Talks, and the Gateway signage is back functional today, so
Yeah,
it'll appear on
because anything with social media, to me, the people that I'm looking at, demographics, is not the people that are on social media. So anyway, I just want whatever assistance can be done to help any of these people. And they're probably not necessarily even getting the times unless they're out into a store somewhere. So I just want to put that in there because those dates are quickly coming now, right? All right.
Just to address that point, I agree with Councillor Thorngass. I feel that it might be something that we could ask staff to do. Maybe we could ask Mia to do a review of our communication strategy and how we're reaching different segments of the community and what strategies we're implementing to see what efficiencies are there, and are there any other options that could be available. She's new, fresh take on what our communication approach has been, maybe have a review of it and see if she can find any synergies that would be cost effective to address some of these issues. I think the other piece, Councillor Thorngoss, to the point she's making about residents coming in, I'll tell you, I don't like e-services either, personally as a resident. But, for someone who's not computer savvy or welcome to, or comfortable with using the system, maybe if they are able to come into the town hall and have a staff member input their information if they're not familiar or intimidated by the computer, so maybe they can book an appointment to come and sit with a staff member to do that. Maybe that could be an option. But I do feel that a review of our communication strategy and protocols would be a good idea. And I think that, the first mistake in communication is thinking it's happened. And it's a fair point to say that there may be some residents, I've heard it at the doors when I was campaigning 4 years ago. Lots of people don't want to see documentation from the town coming out because they think it's a waste of their tax money. But with the resources that we have in place, there may be a way to develop a strategy where people who do want, different forms of communication and want to receive those, maybe we can review that and have a look at it and ask Mia to review and make a recommendation back and see where to from there. So I hear you, Councillor Thorngoss, and I think it's important that we hear those concerns and that we bring them back and look and see if we can find solutions to those issues. So I think those are fair comments. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think communications is one of the most tricky things that you do. I get comments from people from both ends of the spectrum. One is that our communications are excellent and they're really good and people love it. And the other ones is, I don't like this way, I don't like that. I guess trying to find a happy medium is not easy. Maybe, there's lots of options we can do. Maybe sometimes the simplest option is the best. Whereas we could have a handful of flyers printed off and stick them up, one in Food Land, one at Coffee House, and one at the, like in addition to the other things that we're doing. Because I think that we do, our communications are really good. And, they've really improved over the last number of years since we had a dedicated person for communications.
Absolutely.
So, it's, with technology in particular, it changes, right? So if you're not up to date on the newest thing, you're already behind. As soon as you install something, you're 6 months behind. So that's kind of the nature of it, but I appreciate everybody's comments on that, and I know that the CAO was making notes there about that, and I think that there's always room for improvement no matter what you're doing, so. Yep. Well, take it. One thing, is that it? Councillor Goss, do you have anything else? Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. No, I did receive a email from a resident the other day, and I forwarded it on to CAO, and I think she forwarded it on to wherever it had to go. But it was concerning signage on, this woman in particular was talking about East Coast Trail and how a person had a B&B booked in Flat Rock or something, and they were leaving Motion to follow the East Coast Trail to come down Spray Lane. And I guess it's not really marked out very well that's where you have to go for the trail. So they continued walk up, and actually I think they might have even came here to the town hall. So I don't know if that's within our wheelhouse or not of signage that we should be doing, but it might fall within the regional wayfinding signage project. But another person contacted me to talk about enforced landing in particular, where the trail coming down from Skipper's Landing and it ends at Western Island Pond Drive. And then if you walk up the road a couple hundred feet, then you can get on to the next piece of trail. And there's no signage here to tell you that the trail continues down there. So that's something that we as a town, that's within our purview, that's our trail. And that maybe we might look at putting a sign there, just something simple to say trail extends down here, right?
We talked about that actually at a meeting.
Okay. All right, just thought I'd mention it.
I think that's a really good idea, and I would ask Public Works to maybe add that to your agenda as far as a, addition to the signage that we have. That's, because that's more something you would do, that's a functional action, but I think that's great. As far as the regional wayfinding project, I don't know if it would fit in with the East Coast Trail piece, but I do think that we could certainly ask Deanne to reach out to the East Coast Trail group and have a conversation with that, because maybe there's an opportunity for partnership or something we can do. And Julie, you have your hand up, so maybe you've got something to add on that?
Just to let you know that we are working with the East Coast Trade Association on updating on emplacement of directional signage and so forth, so that's in the works.
Okay, perfect.
So I think once they, so it will be the East Coast Trade Association putting up those signs, we'll just get basically ground control officers review the locations and the types of signs, and I gotta look at that now, and then we'll be able to report back to the trade association. So we're hopefully moving on with that from the East Coast Trail perspective.
All right, perfect.
This is excellent. That's 2 items brought up under economic development that I can put over to Public Works and Planning. Thank you, that's excellent.
They'll come back, they'll come back.
All right, good stuff.
I could have made a comment at the time, but I won't.
Teamwork, Mayor,
Yeah,
teamwork.
okay, that's what we call it.
All right, so if there's no other questions, so ends my report.
All right, thank you very much.
Your Worship, can I just follow up on
Go
that
ahead.
communication thing and
Yes,
I
sir.
don't like beating the dead horse either, but it always comes back as if staff is not doing enough to communicate. And I don't mean that people are saying that, but when we're approached by residents, can we see if we can't get as much information as we can? Like, I'd be very upset if they called the office and didn't get a response or didn't get some help of some kind. But if they didn't call the office and just said, oh, I didn't know about it because I didn't get this flyer, like, how many other places did they look, or why didn't we reach them, or something along those lines? Like, we need to really try to get at the root cause of why they don't have that communication in their sites, right, at the end of the day. So,
Yeah.
just want to comment on that. I just, it always comes back as, we have 4 places and we missed the 5th, and that's where that person looked, so.
Yeah.
I just wonder, the other side too, that there's a responsibility for people to actually look as well. And I don't mean it to mean anybody, and I'm just saying that, it's communication is a two-way thing. There's a sender and a receiver and information in between, so.
I agree with you, and I know that we have, at times, we've done surveys of residents to find out which way they would like to get communication the best. And we've taken those reports and implemented them, and there's always somebody going to fall between the cracks because they either don't sign up for a particular notification or they were signed up, like a person sent me an email yesterday, please take me off all town notifications. And next week he'll be calling me saying, I didn't know about that, right? So what do you do?
But just to that point though, Councillor Pollard, that's why I asked for a review of the comms strategy. Because one of the things when we brought in a comms position that I asked for was a communication strategy. And, I've worked in communication. So when you have a communication strategy, what you do is you look at what are the priority items that you want to communicate. Then you look at how are you going about communicating those, what are those means. And then you make sure that you're able to, those means are hitting those intended audiences. So when I've asked that Mia review that documentation, that maybe there could be something there from her experience and background where she may see something. I hear your point. I think it's important that when someone says, I didn't get that, what would work? Would it be printing off a few flyers and putting them in different areas around the town? Would it be, number of things? Because some of those seniors might have mobility issues. So getting that actually and putting in a food land might not be great because they might have someone picking up the groceries. So I hear what you're saying, but I think that, back to the communications plan strategy, making sure that's documented, making sure we know what that approach is, and then tweaking that to ensure that we're looking to communicate with all the different age groups for all the different things that we're doing is important. So that's what I was hitting at when I asked for that review.
Very good.
I think you hit on a really good thing in that, for instance, over to the common, because a lot of those people do go, and it could be something on the wall upcoming for the month that would pertain to them that they could have an opportunity to read. The big thing that they're having is a lot of those people, even if they know about it, is with the e-services, and that's like, I guess there's 2 parts to this, is what we're after hearing over and over again. And again, like, I'm just thinking as we're here, even going in through the drugstore over there, the old-fashioned thing with what's coming up so that they know, and at least they can get somebody to go in and look at it. That's, anyway, all good
Yeah.
ideas.
I know, and everybody will look at that. Listen, Mary, I could go in the woods about 3 miles and tell a tree that taxes are gonna go up, and somehow the whole town would know. So, I don't know
Yeah,
how,
I know, it's funny.
I don't know how that
Yeah.
message gets
They
spread,
know
but
what it is that,
if we can figure
they
that
need
out,
to
we'll
know.
have it knocked.
okay.
All right, thank you. All right, Infrastructure and Public Works, Councillor Thorngas.
Okay, this is an update as well, from the 18th. The History House project is still on track for October. Completion and still on budget. Stormwater implementation plan, we just had the motion in there that started. Has the renovation to the old depot started? Like in here, it was mid-August, so has that?
I met with the contractor today,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they're open starting the next week or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
The flow meter project, the tender documents are being drafted for the flow meter, meter chambers and system, expand the system. Is that near completion or?
Yeah, on that one again, I've spoken with the consultant just after this, I put this out, and they're on track to have that shortly, but they couldn't give me a definite date at that time.
Okay. Well, of course, the sidewalks in there is starting. We were notified on the 23rd, so today, did anything start down here on?
No one on site as of 4 o'clock.
Okay. And the same thing with the road work project.
They were on
Ready
site.
Drive.
They were on site Monday
They
morning.
were on site?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, everything else there is just straightforward, is basically the same as what we had at the last meeting. So if anybody got any questions or anything with regards to what's happening there,
I just have one.
we can direct them to Brian.
Just curious, Director, maybe you could help answer the question. If there wasn't anyone on site today, how do we follow up? What do we do with this sidewalk project?
Yeah, so the sidewalk project, it says project is due to start the week of August 23rd.
Okay, gotcha.
So that could be tomorrow, next day, is this week,
All right.
right?
Would you mind checking with them to see if we could get a confirmed date and just send it out to us?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do, anybody else?
That's it?
Do we have a timeline on when that Great Pond study is going to be done? It was middle of September, I thought that. or-
Yeah, I believe in the email that I sent before I went on holidays, it was middle of September, they said. They were hoping to have the draft report back, because I think that's what they agreed to, that they would have at least minimal of a draft report back to this council
Okay.
prior to the elections, I guess, so. So as soon as it comes out, we'll have it
Okay.
out to you guys.
All right, thank you. It's just I've been getting some questions on that. For sure. Of course, I've been forwarding them on to you, so. All right, thank you. All right, Recreation Community Services. Now, who wants to take that and do it for Councillor Glant? Deputy Mayor, you wanted to?
Sure, yep, not a problem, thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. This is a committee update from Recreation Community Services. The program updates, Torbay's birthday event was held on August 7th and was great. Fabulous job to staff and council, and thank you for everything that you did. There were over 150 people who were in attendance. The weekly Concert in the Park series is continuing with 35 to 50 people attending each show. The summer outdoor movie series continues in the green space at the Torbay Common. That's been a hit. Summer camp is in week 7 of 8. Staff are doing an amazing job running the program. And as happens every year, there's great accolades for that program. It just works really well, so thank you guys for that. The Killick Coast Games have begun, and we've got 1 week through with the junior teams having played. And as I was coming over here today, my daughter was calling to tell me about her softball game today and the 3 games she has tomorrow. So that's really exciting. Thank you to all the towns and all the players and all the families and all the volunteers and coaches that are making that happen. Judging for the Silver Spades Awards has been completed. Staff will make a plan on how to proceed with announcing the winners and presenting the awards. Facilities update, Torbay Commons, the acoustic panel contract has been awarded to Interior Specialties Limited, and staff have been in contact with them. So the timeline and the work plan is coming forward for that. The splash pad opened to the public on August the 7th. It was open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., has since been closed due to water shortage issues and concerns with North Pond. The director will be meeting with staff from Max Athletics to discuss the possibility of them renting the Torbay Common to offer an after-school program. I can ask the director if she maybe wants to provide an update on that one, and that's about it.
Yeah, I met with staff from Max Athletics Thursday, I think it was, and just around a couple of the key points, I guess, were storage, rental contract, what the hours they were looking for. So it's looking pretty positive. I'm working on contracts now, looking at similar ones that have been done with the City of St. John's Recreation Department, just reviewing that and hopefully to get a contract in place this week. It would basically be treated as a regular rental group there and wouldn't affect our own programs or wouldn't affect any other rental groups in the evenings.
Thank you, Jennifer. And that's about it. If there's any comments or questions, by all means, Mayor and I can try to answer.
I just got one comment there, and it's about the judging for the, I know that the decisions have been made, but in the past, I guess, when it was not Communities in Bloom, but when this was the Torbay Beautification, it used to, the awards announcements would be made probably in August month, so that any residents who wanted to drive by, there was a sign put on their property, and anyone who wanted to go by and look at the property, that was always the highlight of who the winners were, so that other residents would be able to go and look at it. So I'm just, I guess, take that into consideration when announcing the announcing the winners and presenting the awards, because it's something now where we're open here, potentially could be done. So in order for that to get passed along to everybody.
Okay. Go ahead, Jen.
Just to follow up on that, staff are planning to have an event on September 8th. That's a proposed event to, I guess, to give out those awards. So communication will be coming on that in the next couple of days.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Did it?
That's it.
All right. Moving right along. Liaison committees. Atlantic Mayors Congress. The next meeting for Atlantic Mayors Congress is scheduled for October. I don't know the firm date, but it's in Charlottetown, so we'll see how that goes. And with COVID, you never know what's going to happen, so that's that. Intergovernmental affairs, I gave a report in my mayor's report about the meeting that we had with the provincial government, MHA, and to talk about our projects, so that's pretty much that update there. Jack Byrne, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Worship. There's no meeting in place yet. I did reach out to the arena manager, though, and I did ask for him to start getting ready for a meeting within the next week or so. So hopefully we'll get a date set for that. I did get an update from him that they are in communication with clients that would normally use the Jack Byrne Arena, such as Northeast, minor hockey and those sorts of groups, and they are having conversations about and working together about having a fall programming and getting those rentals in place. But hopefully by the next council meeting, we'll have either had a meeting or I'll have a meeting to let you know about. Yeah.
Okay, and to that point, I did receive confirmation back from, excuse me, from the other three mayors that they proposed changes that we asked to put back into the lease agreement. They are in agreement to do that, so they're going to adopt it. So this week I'll see if I can update that document. I'll have it ready for the council package for the next council meeting.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay. Northeast Avalon Joint Council, Dr. Storengas.
We had a couple of dates that were proposed today, and if in fact, if we think we'll have enough to have a meeting in September.
Okay.
So more information to come on that.
All right. RNC, so we've been, I guess, in constant contact with MHA and the RNC regarding speeding issues in multiple places within the town. Bowling line in particular, we received a fair amount of correspondence from residents in there about that issue, and we're trying to work through it. I did mention to CAO last week that we will follow up with the RNC to see if we can get ourselves scheduled a public meeting at our community center for our residents to talk about ATV use and traffic in the town. I know Flat Rock had one last week. I think Councilor Storengas,
Yes,
did you go?
yeah.
And it'd be nice for us to have one for our own residents because, of course, it's we're 7 times bigger or whatever than what they got down Flat Rock. So it would have been very nice for a bunch of people from Torbay to show up to a Flat Rock meeting. So I think that we have enough issues of our own to warrant our own meeting, and we're going to see if we can get that lined up, hopefully sooner rather than later, before the winter comes, to get the RNC in here to talk to us and talk to residents and explain to them what the actual situation is, what can be done with regards to speeding in ATVs and different types of vehicles operating on the road, the loud mufflers, whatever issues that residents want to ask questions about of the RNC, that we'll try and get them in here and have that conversation, get some feedback from them on what they want us to do and what can we do, and then we can share at that time with residents what is exactly within the jurisdiction of the town, what is it that we can do, so that people are not, I guess, I hate to use the word over asking, but having an unfair expectation of what exactly the town can do when it comes to enforcement of these type things. We really don't have much power. We can do some things around traffic calming, which we've done and we continue to do, but in regards to actual enforcement of vehicles on the road, we have absolutely no power whatsoever, other than advocacy, which we do and we continue to do. So hopefully we'll be able to get that in place sooner rather than later. It's up to them. We can follow up with them and see when we can get it, but it's I know that the RNC is very receptive to our towns, and hopefully we'll be able to get them down. So
I'd just like to jump in there, and that was one of the things,
Sure.
I guess, their meeting in Flat Rock was basically for ATV and dirt bikes.
yeah.
And there was nothing new that came out of that. It's the same information, and basically, if they're in your particular area, call the RNC. Call the RNC and try to get them down.
Right.
And they talked about, I guess, identifying particular areas and having a number of cars come down, and I think they were after doing that around Torbay.
Yeah.
One of the things that they talked about, and I guess that used to happen, but I don't remember it happening with this council, is the RNC, when they're in the area, dropping into the town. And I know a few years ago, they used to do that, and they even dropped into a couple of our meetings and introduced herself, but that hasn't happened. So they're up to doing that again, and if we're interested, and that's, I think, something that we can do sooner versus
Right.
later. And, but they never talked about speeding down there in their meeting. They had their whole, it was a different agenda.
Yeah.
So, and we'd like to get them to come to our joint council meeting as well, because we have the RCMP who are in attendance now as well, so they were open to that. So maybe we could have a discussion around it at that time, but nothing new other than even educating the kids and that in the school about the use of driving ATVs and dirt bikes and that, but
Yeah, I do
calling
know-
them is the only
It
thing
is.
that we came out of that with.
I do know 2 years ago, I think, we had a joint meeting of our 6 towns in the coast area in Flat Rock with the
Yeah.
RNC. And, of course, with the last year and a half, almost 2 years with COVID, we couldn't really have them in to do anything like that, so it's a good point that you make. And I think what's important is that we all had to be singing from the same page. All of our communities down here, our towns, Flat Rock, Puchco, Balleen, us, Lugabay, Milco, Barnacle, Borsico, St. Phillips. When we're giving our message to our residents about what it is that you need to do, we all need to be given the same message. We don't want to be getting crossed up and giving different messages so that different people are, of course, everybody talks, right, between the towns. So you don't want to be getting different messages and then somebody send us email and say, you give me wrong information. No, we've got to make sure that the information we're giving out is correct. And the best way to do that is to get them down and get it from the horse's mouth and let everybody know, and it's documented, and that's the best way to go forward on that. So I
just
agree.
ask a question?
Sure.
I'm wondering, I think it's a really good idea to invite the RNC to have a conversation with council, absolutely, and introduce themselves. But I'm hearing you, Mayor, and I think that's a really good point that you're making about having a consistent message for everybody. And we both know, because we're in communication with the RNC and our MHA, about this issue fairly consistently. And I do want to do a quick thank you and a shout out to Jody, because he certainly has been working on our behalf. But I'm curious to know if maybe we could ask staff to reach out to the RNC and ask them from their perspective if they have communications around this that they could be sharing out, and have, here's what residents in the towns need to know, here's what towns need to know about what you can do. Because what we can do is we can use our town communication then to share that information, and we would all have the exact same information across all the towns and all the councillors to give to a resident when they reached out and said, this is happening over this end of Torbay, that end of Torbay, or somewhere else, that we're all pointing them to the same information that's coming from the credible source of the RNC. So maybe if we could ask CAO to get a member of council to reach out, have that communication, and see if there's something that the RNC has already packaged that they could share with the towns, or maybe even develop if they have capacity around that. So there's consistent communication about what to do with these issues and who has what jurisdiction around these issues, which would be consistent messaging. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah. We've had that conversation at our regional traffic committee with the RNC, and that is a good place for that to happen. I sent an email a while ago to the committee asking if when our next meeting is going to be. I'm going to have to send an email to you, Morris, CAO, to check with Troy to see if I'm getting some of my emails filtered out, because I'm not receiving certain things. I did receive an invite from, it came from the RNC to go to that meeting down in Flat Rock, that I never ever saw the email. So I know that one of the other mayors told me that I was on it, so. That could be bad. I hate to be accused of not answering my emails, especially if I don't get them, so. Anyway.
Your Worship, just on that, there's a disconnect between the information, and I notice we speak to some of the emails that residents have sent about the messaging they're getting from the RNC versus the messaging that we're sending, and we are sending what Chief Boland had told us. Right. But Chief Boland's whole point was the fact that we all have limited resources, i.e. the RNC have limited resources. They've come a long way. They picked up the 4 new vehicles for the whole Northeast Avalon, which is 4 vehicles that are, an increase over what they previously had. So they're doing something. But his whole point was for everybody to call the RNC so that they could log the complaints, and when they go to look for additional resources to the ministers, they can say, listen, this is the situation we're facing right now, and this is the feedback we got from our residents. Whereas I guess the communication that if a resident actually calls, they're getting a frontline RNC officer saying, we can't do much more than show up, and we can't possibly be there because we can't be there all the time in one area because we got too much area to cover. So there's that disconnect as to what they can actually do now versus the full intent, I guess, of the reporting process. And the reporting process is a longer term scenario where they're going to accumulate the number of responses they get, and then ministers can't really deny that and say, listen, we have proof here saying that, these are residents complaining about speeds, and we definitely need more resources. And I think that was his point in terms of, using that as backup. So when he goes budget-wise, he says, I need another $5 million or something along those lines.
Can I just ask the question, if that reporting system is where, if there was an issue, were we going online and report an incident?
Yes, you can do it online, but there's no place on there to report like ATV traffic or speeding. But the advice that we were given from them is go ahead and fill it out anyway, put it in the comments what it is. That's what the RMC told us.
Well, that came up at the meeting the other night,
Yeah.
and apparently call the number, not to be
Okay.
using that system, because exactly what you said, they're not even going in checking that on a regular basis. That's so far behind right now
Okay.
that it's not even up to date.
All right.
So whatever the phone number is to call, they gave out, then that's what we should be doing.
All right.
Like it's kind of after fading off.
Well, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, see, we could talk about speeding just as much as
Yeah.
anybody else because it's important and it's a big deal. The Torbay Volunteer Fire Department minutes are attached. UMC. Our next UMC meeting is August 28th, this upcoming weekend, and it's being hosted by the City of Mount Pearl. And I want to thank Mayor Aker and the staff in Mount Pearl for accommodating my request to do an in-person meeting this time for our UMC. And I think that it's going to be really nice for people to be able to finally get back and meet in person instead of Zoom meetings. And they were quick to accept my request and move it through, so I'm really happy about that. And just for people's information purposes, the UMC is a committee of M&L that consists of 23 largest municipalities in the province, so ones that are 3,000 or more. And it's the committee that I represent on M&L, so it's usually very informative, and I hope we're going to have an opportunity. We're going to have the minister at this meeting to ask her some questions and put some things to her, and we're hoping to have some federal candidates actually attend the meeting so we can put some questions to them about municipal issues with regards to the federal election. So we'll see how that goes, but otherwise I'm sure we'll get together and we'll talk about what issues are going on in each town. So I think that's it. My phone keeps buzzing. Are we getting questions coming in online?
No.
Okay, good. All right, so that's that. We have no notice of motion. New business. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Worship. So I want to do a thank you. I'm assuming, Brian, it was you who put the speeding sign in for the sign on the Ballin line. Was that you? Yeah, okay. Thank you for that. It's great to see that right there on the sign it says 60 is the maximum and it shows the speed. So I think that was a great recommendation. I really appreciate you following up on that to get that done. So thank you for that. I want to thank all the volunteers and teams who participated in the Pat Dobb Memorial. And Mayor, I believe you were involved. Councillor Thorngass, I know you were in there. I'm not sure if you played. I didn't make it in there the weekend. I was home. We had a family death in my family, so I missed the tournament. But it's always a fabulous event, and just hats off to the people who did it. And I think it's a great way to remember someone who gave so much to the town. And I also wanted to, I kind of touched on it in the recreation update, but I wasn't planning to. But I do want to do a big thank you to everybody who's been a part of making the Killick Coast Games happen. I know even personally my daughter, like I said, she's playing it and her friends, and it's a fabulous event that we do. And the fact that we're able to make that happen in COVID times is really big. So just a big thank you to all of you for your hard work. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And this week I know that soccer is winding down and the minor softball program has wound down. And I just want to put a shout out to Laura Waterman and the team that put off softball, and also the team who are now running soccer. You know, there's a lot of work that goes into that to make sure that that kids, and hundreds of kids, have a great experience in our town every summer. And thank you to the town staff for the work that you do, because I know there's a lot of work in the communication with the organizations to make sure that they're safe and that protocols are being followed and everything is done the way they need to be, and lines are painted and all the equipment's ordered. So Just a few thank yous from me, and that's it.
Okay. Councillor Pollard.
Thank you, Rosa. I just wanted to reach out and wish everybody who's running in the election the best of luck. I know there's a few new names in the hat and a few people who came up over in Northeast Avalon Times. There's a few folks there, so, you know, best of luck to everybody, for those who already came forward and said they want to run, and for those who have yet to do so. So that's all.
And to that point, the information session tomorrow night at 6, Kim? 7? At 7 o'clock. If you want to go and if you're interested in running, register. Send Kim an email and see how many people there are going to be able to accommodate. And this is not just to find out about the election and who's going to be running and everything. This is actually for people who are interested in running and want to find out what it is to be on council and how much work is involved and that type of thing. So take advantage of it. It's good. Kim is an excellent resource. She knows everything about it. She knows so much about it, she would never do it. Councillor Torngas.
Just like to thank everybody that was involved in making the Pet Doll tournament a success. It was great to see so many familiar faces and a lot of new faces in there. And the fact that that was the 19th year anniversary and next year is the 20th year anniversary. So, and it's our come home year celebration. So came up in conversation, of course, with Barry, that probably next year that could be something that could be done in conjunction with our birthday celebrations and what have you. And of course, there was lots of ideas in there about next year and what we could be doing for our celebration. So it's really was really good, and the fact that you were able to see people again. I have a thank you here that somebody asked me to bring forward, and it's about the upkeep. It goes to the maintenance crew that's looking after the beach upkeep, and wanted to make sure that I passed along the thanks for doing an excellent job in keeping the beach area down there with the bench and the way it was mowed and the way that it all looks. And the only other thing that I had, it's good luck for all those that'll be putting their name forward in the upcoming municipal election. Nomination day, Mayor said, is on Thursday.
The information session is tomorrow.
No, the nomination.
Nominations are the 31st of August.
31st, okay, I was thinking that it was earlier than that. Sorry about that, but anyway, I'm, I guess, looking forward to seeing some new people come forward. A number of people have having conversations about it, so all the best to everybody.
All right, thank you. Second that. I'm not going to belabor the issue of the tournament on the weekend, but I would like to say congratulations and thank you to Barry and Marie Codler in particular, and Brad and PJ Da, who put in hours and hours and hours to make that tournament continue. I spoke to Barry on the weekend, and you know, the average fundraiser tournament or average fundraiser life expectancy is around 5 years. So the fact that next year, or this year would have been 20 years without COVID, but next year is going to be 20 years, that's significant. So maybe in regards to what Mary said, the town can look into partnering with them. We do partner with them anyway, but you know, make more of a big deal out of it. It is already a big deal, but it's great to see all those people in there. I want to pass along condolences to the Tapper family, particularly Bud, who works here with us. Miss Jen Tapper passed away last week, and you know, it was really sad. And you know, I have my own personal lot of memories of her. We had a chance to talk at the funeral home with members of her family, and at the funeral, and you know, she was like everybody's grandmother of the town. She just almost was going to be 102 years old. You know, it was a great pleasure for me to present her with her certificate on her 100th birthday, and our very first event at our new community center. And you know, that was, I thought was, you couldn't have done it for a better person. So, you know, I'm going to miss her, and you know, it's I used to get a kick out of her, right? I go to the senior sing, and of course she never wanted to hold back on what's going on. So last time we were over at the the coffee shop. And she said, "Oh, yeah, you're here again today?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Where's the rest of the council?" I said, "Miss Tapper, you know, they all got jobs. A lot of them are working." "Don't you work?" she said to me. I said, "Yeah, well, I do." I said, "You can't get one over on you, that's for sure." So anyways, you know, she was a really nice woman, a great person. I'm going to miss her, and you know, I'm sure I speak for everybody when I pass along our condolences to her and her family, and yeah, it's the end of an era for sure. I got one other thing, and this is a really good one. So last February of 2020, I mean, that's even more than last February. Anyway, we had young Parker Upshaw in here, and his friend, Parker, Jacob Dyke. And Parker was the kid that did the Heimlich maneuver on his friend over at the school, and we gave him a hero award. I got a message the other day from his dad, and Parker is going to be receiving this week, on Thursday, a Governor General Award.
Good.
And so is his father. So Parker is going to get his Governor General Award for actually performing the Heimlich maneuver on Jacob. And his dad is going to get it for teaching Parker how to do that at such a young age. So I think it's an excellent story. And, you know, it's really nice. And I've had a lot of opportunity to spend time with Parker's dad, and sometimes with him. We went and did interviews and all that kind of stuff when all this was on the go. He really sucked it all up and really enjoyed it. But he's such a humble little boy, and I just want to say congratulations to him and to his dad, and thank you to his father for bringing that particular skill to light. And it's something that I would encourage every parent to teach their children. It's not very difficult to do, and as we saw last year, that Parker may have very well saved his friend's life over at the school. So anyway, I think that was a good note to end on.
Excellent.
And you can disagree if you want, but I don't think you will. All right. Question and answers. Does anybody here have a question that they would like to ask? Paula, we don't have a microphone tonight because we didn't want, if we had multiple questions, we didn't want to have to wipe the microphone down and all that kind of stuff. So if you want, you can just stand, you don't need to put your mask on, but you can stand up in your space there and speak loud enough and we'll hear you.
I would like information about the drop in our North Pond water supply and the water ban. How low is the water? What is the measurement that residents understand what that looks like?
Okay.
What will it take to lift the ban? For example, how much rainfall? I think we've had experience in this before. So I'd just like to see some numbers wrapped around this. And how does this low water ban compare to other years? I know this, but maybe it's because our communications is so stepped up. Wash dishes versus the dishwasher, take a bath versus a shower. It seemed very specific and increased, but that just could be because we're getting more knowledgeable about how to deal with this. So if you could wrap some numbers around this, and I noticed 3 new faces, so I just,
All right, so,
that's my question.
all right, so first things first.
Writing if you'd like to see it.
What I would ask you to do is, because that's kind of a multi-pronged question, that if you could email me that, and I will give it to staff. I do know that since I've been here, well, I've been here for 8 years, this is the first time that we've ever put on a ban on water, that you couldn't use water, since I've been here, right? And I'm pretty sure you haven't. So I think it's got a lot to do, and Brian can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I could. This year in the spring, we had very little spring runoff. There was not a lot of snow left around March and April, so the pond never really got to recharge that much. We had some leaks that we were dealing with over the course of the summer that we've identified now and fixed. But in terms of the water levels, Brian, do you have any information on that, or would you have to go look it up?
Yeah, I'd have to look it up for sure.
Okay. So I don't think there's we haven't added any real new capacity to the water supply. So we're not overdrawn compared to what is the available capacity according to our estimates and studies that we get from our engineers. So I think that it's probably got to do with rainfall, I suspect. But Brian will confirm for you, and we can email that out, and we'll actually we can put it in our next council package. How about that? So we'll do up a answer for your question, and we'll put it in the council package next time as part of the Public Works report.
It seems it's kind of like the elephant on the table, you know, town water ban, big deal, and I was waiting for it to come up, and so just seems really important, and maybe it could have been on the agenda.
Well, I mean,
I'm going to step back now.
no, that's fine, and that's fine. And to your point, I was going to mention that about the fact that we still have a ban in effect, and for people to please conserve water, don't go watering your lawns or washing your cars, because the ban is still in effect through the town. And to be honest with you, it's the first time, like I said, it's the first time that we've had it done since I've been here. So maybe to your point, we do need to be doing some additional communication around that every day. And next week when we have our council meeting, or in 2 weeks, director can come up with a report based on those specific things that you asked.
And it was very well communicated. I know communications is a big conversation here.
Yeah.
It was very well communicated.
Yeah,
That's
no.
why I know that.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Madeline?
Well, I have to say something. It's been so long.
Yeah.
I have a question and a comment. My question is, has the town been doing some improvements to the parking that's available at the Silver Mine Head on Motion? Somebody mentioned that there was some ditching happening and there more parking available.
Yep, we actually filled in a section of ditch along there, and I think there's probably parking now probably 5 or 6 more cars. Yep.
I wasn't aware. The comment I made is sort of following up on the ATV issue, which has been one that's been, a bit of a frustration for everybody. I live on Indian Line, and that's like a thoroughfare, and even at, it seems like 3 in the morning, there's something that happens. There's a meeting of some kind because they're making a lot of noise. But the big disappointment I have is that we still have not dealt with the issue conclusively of ATVs on our beach and on the East Coast Trail around the Torbay Bike. I've been to the beach a little more often than normally would this summer because the weather's been so good. And every time there's ATVs, 2-wheeler, 4-wheeler, and I'm telling you, they're going full blast up and down the coastline, on the beach, everywhere. And we even drove down Morris Valley Road one day to go swimming at Watts Cove. And just as we turned on in front of the Yellow House, in front of Dominion Hill, these 2 bikes came right in front of us, stopped right in front of us. We had to brake. And the one fellow was telling us, like, wait a minute now, and telling us when we could go ahead. I mean, that was really kind of
Yeah, it's
maddening. But there are some things that I'm sure that could be done, some pinch points around Battery Bridge, around different areas, because it's terrible. And we have a beautiful look out there, and it's all spoiled by people making noise and going and really putting their risk their lives at risk and other people's. So it's really horrible. And they're on Lower Street as well. They're everywhere.
and it's frustrating. And as Mary indicated down in Flat Rock, they're having the same issues down there. And in Outer Cove and Portrait Coast and Phillips, it's almost like an epidemic. When I was younger, a lot younger than I am now, I could count on one hand how many people in Torbay had a dirt bike, or it was 3-wheelers at that time. There was no 4-wheelers. And now I just probably within the radius of 100 feet within my house, there's probably 10. So it's just so much more prevalent now. Had a dirt bike pass me coming down Northside Hill the other day, past the post office, between my truck and the other car, and his back wheel going down over the hill. I mean, what do you do?
It's been a long time. I mean, this comes up at least once a year, and I suggested maybe it's time for some kind of a blitz. The RNC cannot do everything. I mean, the town, I think, has to take the bull by the horn and do some kind of place of information, community awareness, whatever you want.
Right.
And maybe more signs as well, down the beach, clear signs.
Yeah.
Can't go there.
Good point.
Something.
Yep, I agree, and we can Don can make a note, we'll look at that, doing more signage or information for people. I know that we did put out ones about speeding and ATV use, and, I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, and he was on his ATV, and he came across another person on theirs with a young girl on the back with no helmet on. Like, why do you, how can you combat that?
We have a lot of different types of communications mediums now.
Yeah.
I'm sure that we could have a big splash.
All right. Nope, don't take it. Good. If we don't do it, I'm sure you'll follow up with us. Ms. Lacy?
No, I'm good.
You good? Mike?
Covered everything.
See, that's pretty good when I knows the names of all the people that are in the meeting. I love it. It's awesome. Anyway, with that, I would, hang on, I gotta find me thing. Our next public council meeting is scheduled to take place on September 7th, 2021, right here at the Torbay Town Hall. If you would like to attend the meeting in person, please get in contact with us prior so we can space out a few more chairs and get you in here, and you can have the opportunity to ask questions, and it's all good. All right, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn, please. Move. Second, boys, don't get too excited. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Nobody wanted the game. No fighting and arguing going on. Nobody wanted the meeting to end. Wanted to go on forever.
Mary?
Well, now.
Mary? 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 Can I get a ride? I will, yeah, I'm finished.
Yeah, you can chat. Oh, you shouldn't? She got her mask on. No? Okay. Paula? I got overruled by the boss. Don.
Yeah, that would be preferred, because I didn't discuss with staff prior to about interacting with residents, so just to ensure COVID protocols
Thank you. Thanks for coming. It's all right.
See y'all later.
See you, Mary.
See ya. See you.
All righty then. You all right, Kim? Still live and streaming? Hi. Here? How many people do we have?